Evil Geniuses versus Ehome. Game 3.
As the man says, Game 3, Ehome versus Evil Geniuses, and the draft is underway.
Every TI, I feel like there's a fight missing after he introduces that. I don't know. They do
I'm still convinced that that last one is definitely higher pitched than the other two. For sure. Oh,
There,
look.
go Ehome.
Oh, look. Oh, look.
That's the first step.
It's understandable.
Oh, look,
it's
there's
one
a
of those,
respect band.
you know, it's one of those heroes. It's frustrating because it feels like you're not actually allowed to play Dota. You know, you just have to D-word stuff. You know, everything explodes. No, really, it is so frustrating to play against. It really is. We all
I
have
agree
that
with
techie
you.
experience, you know, where it's like,
But
can I
really
just-
fun to play.
can I
Yes.
play Dota already? So yeah, they won't get techies this time. It's gonna open up for another hero. I mean, Bounty Hunter is available again, but
Wyvern, Darkseer.
exactly. The Winter Wyvern, the Darkseer.
Queen of Pain, Bounty Hunter, yeah. A lot of available heroes now. Ehome. I think that EG are pretty happy with whatever they get as second and third pick here because of that.
It would be interesting to know which team had to choose between first pick and side, because I feel like first pick was key for both teams in that regard. I mean, Ehome probably wanted the first pick to be able to ban the techies without giving away a hero that seemed important for them, because EG were forced to ban the Leshrac and the Gyro. As we said, they probably identified the Gyro as one of Ehome's key heroes.
Okay, they actually do it. I was thinking, after the Wyvern first pick here, are they going to steal the Darkseer or not? Because Ehome, they do wonders with Darkseer Winter Wyvern combination. This Darkseer pick, sure, Universe might be happy to play it as well, but this feels like 100% a block pick.
I mean, the replacement is Phoenix.
Still doable, yeah.
Indeed, indeed. But we also have one of the best Darkseer player in the Dota 2 scene, which is Universe, and it's also his favorite hero. So I think it's completely fine for them to grab it. The same goes for the Bounty Hunter. AUI is an extremely good Bounty Hunter.
5 seconds remaining.
I really like this opening from PPD.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I don't think you can let through the Darkseer there, and Bounty Hunter is just super strong. So all they need now is to be able to get online with their mid hero. I think it's a good opening for PPD.
That's a very early Storm pick. First phase Storm. I don't think we've seen that at all.
No,
I think it's good though. It would have almost certainly been banned out the second phase. They need something that CTY's dominated with. He dominated EG with it, as well as Secret. Why not?
but this time it's open. Like, this is going to reveal it to PPD, and he can go into some hero that counters it. They ban out the Lina first here because she's a troublesome lane for Storm. Lina can definitely beat Storm in lane. But I think there's also like Silencer, there's Night Stalker. There are a few heroes that work really well against Storm.
Especially because Sumail is very known for his Storm as well, so he probably also knows how to counter it.
Yeah, and in the second phase, EG is going to ban a hero and going to pick a hero. So if you want to get the Storm, you're probably not going to get it there. So, I mean, picking up here is just to make sure that they actually block the pick from EG as well.
Are they going to ban anti-mage?
Good question. And Luna is banned as well. So Luna is like the carry today that is used against anti-mage.
10 seconds remaining.
That's true. And I'm not sure. This is a tough spot for Ehome in terms of what they want to ban. Either Anti-Mage or Silencer or something even more aggressive. But maybe they might even look towards more mid heroes, as they already banned out the Lina.
The one thing so far is that for the longest part of the year, many teams favored Radiant, but the stats at the main event on the main stage is 17 to 10 in favor of Dire. And so we have EG on Dire side, so if you're an EG fan, that's pretty good, I guess. I wonder why Dire is so dominant, because, I mean, we said that the mid lane was very important for both teams, for example, but the mid lane is always better when you're Radiant.
Yeah,
But there's one thing about Dire. The off lane, you can actually block the creeps much easier on the off lane.
exactly. The Dire safe lane is stronger. If you get contested and you are on the Dire safe lane, meaning your enemy goes aggressive tri-lane or something, you can always get something out of the lane because you have two different pull spots. And it's also much easier to deward your pull and stuff like this. So the map, sure, it favors, for mid, Radiant is a little bit stronger, but it evens out all over the map. Also the Roshan control. We'll see here what they want to go into. Really taking a lot of time here, RTK, about this one ban.
He's probably thinking about the anti-mage. I mean, you have the Storm.
There's a lot of stuff.
The thing is, if you ban anti-mage, they can just pick PL and response because there won't be that many counters.
I like the Quap ban, and it was banned from, I mean, against Ehome last game. I really feel like Bounty Hunter Quap is one of the best combos you can have, just because the Bounty, you know, he's just gonna find kills, and Quap is one of the best hero to just join any sort of skirmish you can.
Both their
find yourself
bans are targeted to that. Lina is exactly the same as you mentioned for Queen there. So they just want to stop the kill momentum from EG and try and put them in the passive spot that themselves found them in.
And as a Bounty, you never want to be passive, at least not early in the game.
No.
They're trying to give like CTY a good matchup in the middle lane. That's really important for them. They need to give him an upper hand and not allow what happened the last game to happen again.
They ban out Antimage themselves, CG here, and they're probably thinking about taking PL or something along that line after banning AM. I'm not sure. I thought Antimage would have been a nice pick for them. Kind of surprising, actually.
I don't feel like AM is a counter to PL in the sense that if AM is banned, then you should go for the PL. I understand what people would pick AM against PL because you want late game potential, but I actually think that they don't really match up well versus each other. I feel like PL has like a slight edge, if not a big edge, on AM.
He has a slight edge in fighting, but AM has a big edge in farming, so they work differently, I think.
I think AM peaks much faster than PL, but PL has more potential.
Oh yeah, like if both are 6 slotted, there's no doubt PL is stronger. But I wonder, they banned that hero and now they take a lot of time digging into it here. I wonder if EG are gonna pull out the silencer as well. We have seen it previously today. It's super good for disjointing the initiation, and Storm might be left alone if you time it correctly.
Yeah, and especially in this game, Ehome might actually want to go for the Phoenix, so the silencer could be a pickup that EG could use against that.
But they have no jump though. Like if you have silencer, you want to jump so you can like zip in with Storm and then silence, or blink stun with Sand King.
And I feel it works both ways, honestly, because when you play Silencer, what's good against Silencer is reliable initiation, and Storm is actually a very good hero versus Silencer. A Storm with an early Orchid and their Silencer is really useless because it's just going to get jumped on and die, and it's going to die before anything happens. I think it goes a bit both ways with the Storm versus Silencer matchup.
Especially as they have their 2 supports picked already now with Spirit Breaker and Bounty Hunter and Darkseer picked in the pool, so it kind of has to be a support Spirit Breaker.
Oh, indeed.
And because of that, like a core Silencer struggles against Storm, that's true in a sense. But they can also counter each other. It really depends on who has the vision first.
That's a very, very early pick. I mean, this Spirit Breaker pick from EG is very strange because, as you mentioned, they have 2 support heroes that pretty much do the same. I'd say they're both like melee heroes that wants to look for early fights, early skirmishes, early ganks.
I'm not a huge fan of Spirit Breaker Bounty picked together like this when they are both support. So if this is an offlane Darkseer indeed, which it kind of has to be, then I think it's a little bit weird synergy.
I mean, mid Darkseer is sometimes viable, but one of the best heroes to have versus mid Darkseer is Storm. So
yeah.
it's definitely not what they're going for right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if you have Bounty and Spirit Breaker on the same team, even though it's double melee support, it gives your middle lane a lot of advantage because the opponent has to be very careful. It's a lot of pressure that you don't see, in the game, and it's going to give your mid laner an advantage in CSing.
Hey, EG, you have 3 melee heroes.
I'm glad there's no...
The stacking.
Phoenix, I think, is looking
Wind Ranger at your
Yeah.
to be a really good pick for Ehome.
It really does. Oh, exciting. Get to see Windrunner picked up here.
And I'm not sure why.
I mean, a lot of mid players love playing this. It's strong against Storm as well. It can outlane a Storm, definitely. So it's pretty hard to trade Harass because you can pop an early Windrun on that. But I'm not sure if it's going to be a fully effective pick.
Only the 4th time in TI5.
Yeah, not given a lot of love, and she is strong. She has been played a lot before TI as well in different games. So,
Yeah. But the
little
thing
bit
is, like, people view like Cold Embrace a very good way of dealing with focus.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's why I was wondering.
So it's a little weird, but I think I have to agree with Seb. It's maybe mostly for the laning, probably, just so that Storm has a hard time in the lane.
her power shot works pretty well with the charge as well. Even if she's far away, she can help out the Spirit Breaker when he charges in. And I don't know, they just want aggressive heroes that can come online and start fighting. If they have Bounty Hunter and Spirit Breaker, that's their only hope. They have to play towards that. For Ehome right now, they're looking much more balanced. They have decent team fight, arguably same level of team fight, I think, with the Death Ward and Winter Wyvern against the Darkseer. It's pretty similar.
I feel like they have no answer whatsoever to the late game potential of PL so far.
No.
So this is a game where they need to completely dominate Ehome, and if they don't, it's gonna be very tough for them.
Do you think they will go for Clinks and just go all in early game with the bounty and Spirit Breaker and just keep fighting?
That could be the play. Yeah.
They need a self-sufficient safe laner, that's for sure, because the bounty and the Spirit Breaker are gonna be roaming around mid and on Darkseid lane, I would assume. So Fear is gonna be left by himself most of the time.
I mean, Clinks is definitely alright in that regard. Right?
And that's also why they banned Clockwork. Probably Clockwork is one of those offlane heroes that pressures, that can have killing potential one-on-one. Darkseid is already taken, so there aren't many like very strong offlane heroes left.
Makes the most sense,
Yeah.
definitely. And EG love playing Clinks as well, so I would definitely be surprised to see him pick anything else than it. Thinking about the heroes available, Ember banned out, the anti-mage banned out themselves, Luna removed.
I think it's a hero that's actually quite bad versus PL, at least.
Yeah, that's the one big problem I have with Clinks is like they have no solution for a PL. So the whole game they're going to feel like, okay, we have to shut them down. We're on a timeline.
You're
If they
one
don't-
game away from top 3, you probably want to secure yourself something.
Oh, Razor.
Yeah, Razor is also one of those heroes that's very self-sufficient. It's a very good pick in the like with the way they drafted Bounty and Spirit Breaker that are gonna roam. Razor is probably one of the best options alongside with Quap, but Quap was banned.
So Clockwork ban was mostly just to protect the Windrunner because it does shut down Windrunner. I mean, Razor would love to go up against the Clockwork. That's an easy lane for him. I don't really like the overall look of EG's draft. I think it is sort of an all-in. Your late game is not really that good. Your team fight is not superior to Ehome right now. And your ganking, while it's decent, it's also not that good. It's a very
definitely-
mixed draft.
It's a snowball pick.
Yeah.
It really is.
They need early momentum or they're really in a tough spot. Ehome, gotta go for the bird.
That's a great pickup.
I can't believe that didn't get banned out
Yeah, I
after
think
the
it's-
first pick Wyvern.
It's stronger than Clockwork. I would have much preferred to ban that out if I were EG over Clock.
Okay. We are about to head into our third and final game of the night and of the semi-final of the upper bracket. Evil Geniuses versus Ehome for a place in the upper bracket final.
That's right, a lot on the line here with this last game of the night, Game 3 between Evil Geniuses and Ehome. Blitz, we're hearing those USA chants. We're also hearing a lot of Ehome chants, fan favorites on both sides, but just looking at this draft, who are you favoring?
I mean, for me, I just feel like Ehome's draft is a little bit more balanced, whereas Evil Genius's draft is a little bit more specialized. Like, they have a very clear-cut game plan for one side of the match, whereas it just feels like Ehome's draft is a little bit more balanced out.
Now, you and I were running through some theory crafting during the draft and trying to figure out, okay, what were going to be the matchups here. You specifically pointed to, when we're talking about our 1 versus 1 mid, which I think is so incredibly important in this EG versus Ehome, where you've got some very lane-dominant mid players between Sumail and CTY. You suggested Wind Ranger here as the matchup against Storm Spirit. But you were also a little bit hesitant about the suggestion. Why is that? Why Wind Ranger, and why are you a little bit hesitant about it?
I can't remember the two heroes that I said. I was really confident, though, that it would be the Wind Ranger, and the reason why is because you're looking at heroes that do well against the Storm Spirit, and I told you what they were. It was going to be the Queen of Pain, the Leshrac, and like the Shadow Fiend. That's another hero I thought it could be.
Templar Assassin was another suggestion.
Yeah, but I thought the Wind Ranger was most likely just because it does really well against the Storm. Like, Storm can't kill her under any circumstance unless Sumail just horribly gets outplayed. Like, he has to waste the Wind Run. And if you're playing Storm, you probably get 2 in Remnant, so that means you have 0 in Pull, so the Wind Ranger just walks across the map, can't really do anything about it. And further than that, it's just that the Shackle Shot destroys Storm. Oftentimes, he's waiting behind heroes, there's heroes following in after him, really easy Shackle target. The reason I was so concerned about it is because when you decide to focus fire somebody, Winter Wyvern just cold embraces.
Yeah, it's a straight up instant counter. So in that way, it's sort of like Evil Geniuses are prioritizing the 1 versus 1 mid lane matchup and trying to make sure that Sumail gets a matchup that he can definitely win against CTY and really start snowballing over the fact that there is going to be that direct counter from the Winter Wyvern.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we talked about the Razor pick. They just needed a hero that was incredibly tanky in the laning phase. But interestingly enough, you brought up the point that you could probably see a Phoenix here. And why did you think that, actually?
So the Phoenix, for me, as an offlaner, I feel like despite the fact that a Wind Ranger is there, and Wind Ranger is definitely an incredibly strong hero against the Phoenix Egg in particular, and also the last pick Razor, any sort of range hero is going to be strong versus it. I still felt like the Phoenix is an incredibly strong counter to the Darkseer, and just because of the vacuum grouping mechanism and then the wall on top. It's similar to Tombstone, where you want to be able to fight around that, but at the same time, if there's the counter there, the Phoenix Egg, you set up sort of your own turret on the side of Ehome and say, you know, this battlefield isn't necessarily yours. Just because you have the wall there, we too also have the egg, which you're either going to have to focus down or, you know, try and get out of that area, in which case the wall's ineffective. I'm still concerned, though. The Razor and the Wind Ranger both have some pretty decent attack speed. The rest of the heroes, though, very obviously are not going to have a whole lot of opportunity to go for the egg. Melee heroes, not really right-click centric. I feel like Ehome had the right choice in the Phoenix, but they're definitely going to have to focus their disables on the Wind Ranger when they pop it.
Yeah, and I think we saw Ehome run this combination, almost this exact same lineup against, I believe it was Secret. They had CTY playing the Storm, they had the Phoenix Winter Wyvern combo, and you know, we saw them mess up with it in the beginning, but as the game grew on, it seemed like they got more comfortable with the combination, and it seems like this is their pocket pick. The Storm, Winter Wyvern, Phoenix combo. You have to focus so much on killing the egg, then you've got to deal with the Winter's Curse, and then you've got the Storm that you pretty much have to ignore while you kill the egg. So I think it's a really neat combination that pretty much shores up all the weaknesses. And
yeah, if they get a Winter's Curse on the Wind Ranger and happen to catch the Razor in that AoE as well, the Phoenix Egg all but guaranteed to explode at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm just happy to see another Storm game. Haha. It's like they pick it every single time I'm casting.
Oh, AUI. He actually lays down a nice little bush ward there to block out both hard camp as well as the pole camp. We'll see if Lanham is actually going to be able to counter that right away. Evil Geniuses are centering up on the bottom bounty rune. Sumail is going to be gunning for that one. They did give him only one shared tango. You notice the stat heavy build. This is very obviously to try and take an early advantage over the CTY Storm Spirit with the quick pickup of the Null Talisman. And yeah, sure enough, Lanham's going to be able to take out that ward before it blocks the camps. Perfect for Ehome.
Honestly, I think that Wind Ranger pick as well, I just want to get a little bit more into it. I think it was just that Sumail requested it. Like, it's your mid matchup, it's game 3, it's one of the last picks, and you tell your captain's asking you, okay, what beats Storm? What are you comfortable in this 1v1 matchup? All the other heroes are banned out, what do you want? Sumail probably just replied, Wind Ranger. He's probably played a ton of pub games with it. I know he fiends with it. It's one of the heroes that he feels can really win against the Storm Spirit, and so it's a natural ask for him.
All right, starting the laning phase off here. Sumail and CTY going to be facing up against each other, but let's talk about our offlaners here, since we focused on mid quite a bit. Universe is going to be playing the Darkseer, already spamming out that double Ion Shell. In fact, he's got AUI who's going to be joining him as well. This is a good opportunity for them to get easy damage, especially on those supports, putting the Ion Shell on the invisible roaming bounty hunter. Very dangerous situation, but ROTK has a relatively easy lane of his own as the Phoenix offlane against a support Spirit Breaker and the Razor who's farming up.
Yeah, and AUI is actually just going to counter the sentry now.
Oh, PPD picking up the early level of Greater Bash, but now he's going to be kind of baited into it. RTK as well as DDC get a lot of damage. Health Potion is canceled, but most of the effectiveness is still there. Double bird combination from Ehome challenging the Razor and Spirit Breaker now.
It's really hard to beat this lane just because they have so much harass potential, and the Arctic Burn is such a cheap spell, and it's one of the ones that is going to be hard to deal with. And this is why you pick the Razor with the Spirit Breaker. It's kind of an obvious pick because when you have really weak lanes, you need a hero that's really self-sufficient in the lane, and that's what the Razor is there for. He shores up the weaknesses of having a Spirit Breaker as your support. Because if he charges somebody, then you can just use the static link, suck up a lot of damage, and also there's a really neat combination where you cold embrace somebody, and then Fear just continues to drain their damage.
Right. PPD finds the illusion rune. CTY is dropping a bit of CS against Sumail, kind of be expected at this point. 11-1 on Sumail compared to CTY's 7-1. AUI is trying to rotate in and take away that courier, but I'm sure both teams experienced enough that they're not going to rotate the courier in until it's flying. So instead, AUI is actually going to head up to the top lane here. The charge is coming in on DDC. They're really wanting to fight this one. AUI goes onto ROTK. They're trying to threaten both of these heroes at the same time. ROTK does not have a charge here, and for another 5 seconds puts himself in the trees, but PBD locked on, gets that first blood, and now maybe they're going to go for a second one. DDC does not have his Arctic burn anymore. AUI is searching for that opening. Evil Geniuses are a bit low. AUI going for it now. Starts the right-click battle. They also have the Spirit Breaker illusion that's coming in. DDC frantically trying to eat through the trees, but doesn't have enough. Cold Embrace is popped, and AUI realizes now is the time to retreat. With the Cold Embrace there, DDC bought himself enough time.
Yeah, and he's still just causing a lot of disruption on the map, and then First Blood's going to help this top lane a lot because it's just going to make ROTK play a lot more carefully. And when you're running dual lanes like this, it's incredibly hard for Ehome to counter the Wind Ranger mid. Like ideally, you would like to send the Winter Wyvern there just to help the Stormshoot out a little bit to make this lane okay for him. But because you're running dual lanes, you sent the Bounty Hunter originally bottom. It opens up the map for Fear a little bit more, and it helps Sumail a lot in this mid lane.
Starkseer is having a great time at the bottom lane. Universe is 15-0, and YJ has burned through most of his consumables. In fact, he had to bring himself a bottle just to help stay alive. Now, this is really going to help out. They're going to go for Universe. Oh, the cast bounce back to him. Universe is not going to get that much effectiveness out of the Surge, but it's still enough. He's going to pop the health potion, which will be canceled now by the Lance from YJ. And he actually wants to go for the bottom bounty rune, but AUI trying to pick it up ahead of CTY is not there in time. The charge is actually coming out here, but PBD will certainly cancel it. Regeneration now for CTY. What a rune pickup.
That's pretty much the best rune that you can ask for, especially when you're about to hit level 6. You can clear the jungle camps and then head back towards the mid lane. Typically the play is you clear the jungle camp, you TP back to base when you don't have a rune, and then you just have to go back to the mid lane, but this just saves them like an extra 30-45 seconds, which in midterms is so long, especially in the early game. So that helps CTY even further, and once he's about to hit level 6, it's going to be really hard for Sumail to kill him.
Push back there. Nice plasma field out from Razor. Actually hit both ROTK as well as DDC with pretty much maxed effectiveness from that nuke. This is one of the big advantages, right, of being able to run certain self-sustained heroes in the safe lane, such as Razor. You can afford to move your supports around as much as you want. Fear by himself will be able to push back very offensively against that offlaner.
Yeah, so you're seeing CTY do it right now. He farms one creep wave, pulls the other, pops the regen, and instead of having to go back to base, he's full everything right now. It's a little bit chancy right now. All right.
Oh, that power shot actually caught him there.
That was CTY cocky.
Yeah, he's just trying to be too tricky.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to have to continue to roll for it. All he has to do is wait and sit back, but opts to be a little bit flashy and waste most of that regen rune, actually.
Another very aggressive ward being placed by AUI. That area behind the middle tier 1. DDC actually gives kind of another laning ward, just kind of helps out CTY in potential rotations, especially in conjunction with the top middle rune as well.
I think that ward is mainly so that AUI can soak up experience. I think if they stack it 3 times,
right,
then he'll actually just head there and split XP and make sure that they just don't get the full value out of it. But contesting it's going to be really hard.
YJ threatened once again. He's running through these bottle charges pretty quickly. AUI came in, did some damage there with a Janata hit, plus they had the Ion Shell harassing him. They do see the stack that you're talking about. So AUI already going to try and make his way over there most likely. Sumail is sitting 40-9 on the CS board. We got 31-11 on Fear, so top 2 CS on board is going the way of Evil Geniuses. And our offlaner of Universe is way ahead of the Phoenix, but this is kind of to be expected. A little bit more lane-focused setup for Evil Geniuses. There is still tons of teamfight potential on Ehome.
Yeah, when it comes to teamfight, Ehome unquestionably have the stronger teamfight. That Winter Wyvern and that Phoenix pickup make it really easy for them to take advantageous fights, but that's not where EG were meant to go. They're just meant to win the lanes as hard as you can. That's why you have the Razor, that's why you have the Wind Ranger mid. Like, Wind Ranger mid is a hero just like Razor who really relies on being able to win her lane. Like, she needs a dominant amount of farm to transition into the mid game. And so this is just EG pretty much saying, okay, we're gonna snowball as hard as possible. We trust Sumail, we expect him to win his lane, and I mean, that's confidence right there in your mid laner.
Very smart decision there. DDC actually finds the ward that was placed by AUI earlier with the sentry. Even if the ward wasn't there, it's still a great idea to throw out that sentry. As you said earlier, the bounty hunter is very likely that he's going to try and soak up the experience there of that stack.
Yeah, and if you're CTY, because you're so you're like 10 CS behind right now, you have to do something to come back, and being able to get all the solo in the stack is one of the ways you do so. And EG are going to 100% know that he's doing this because you only send DDC mid if he's doing that stack right now. So they're going to feel really comfortable in the rest of their lanes. Like they should even go for maybe even go for a dive at bottom because they know that the Storm can't respond.
Yeah, YJ is actually a bit low on mana. Of course, he does have that Enchanted Mango ready to go. They're going to go him now and maybe try and force out that Doppelganger. But no such luck. AUI just make sure that there's no refill in the bottle. 8-mana rune will be claimed by him. And Sumail snags the top one as well.
Yeah, and looking at that top lane, PPD is getting a decent amount of levels. The Razor just continues to farm. I'd expect for him, well, his item's flying in right now, he's going for a wand. Something like a drums wouldn't be bad. Even in SNY, I don't think going for a BKB is the right idea here at all, though. There's almost no magic damage that he really has to worry about. The crowd control on the other team isn't too significant. It's just about getting stats.
Evil Genius is very content to just sit back and take more of a farm lead over Ehome at this point. Bottom lane, they're actually trying to go on bottom. Looks like that wall actually missed out on its opportunity. And Voodoo Restoration quickly getting Lonum back up. Now, in these sort of situations, there's two conflicting builds on a Witch Doctor. Sometimes you go for the maxed out Voodoo Restoration, sometimes you go for the Maledict. In this game, what is Lonum's best choice? Because it seems he's holding on to some skill points, really thinking about it.
I think you just go for the Voodoo. You can grab a level or two just to deter people from continuing to go on you, but this is going to be a fairly passive game just because you want the counter initiation of the Witch Doctor more than anything. It's going to be so hard for him to be in that front line, and he's actually gone for stats, if you notice on his build.
Yeah, he's trying to tank up a bit more. Up at the top lane, they did force ROTK to use another Icarus dive back, but he will grab his level 6 now. As the creep wave pushes into the tower, DDC also getting rather close to his level 6, thanks to all the solo experience he's getting in the middle lane. CTY routinely farming up those two different Radiant side camps.
Sumail's just picked up his point booster right now. He's going to go for the Aghanim Scepter, just a really strong item against the Storm Spirit, who if he decides to go for something like the Bloodstone first, it's going to be really hard for him to survive. And it's going to be so hard for them to kill Sumail. Like, they don't actually have the best ways to kill him. The Winner's Curse is going to have to go off with 2 or 3 heroes near him for it to actually work.
RTK, he's going to be spotted out by Sumail, and nice shackle shot. Going to be able to snag RTK. He still has the opportunity to pop that ultimate. He's going to try and beat Sumail in as much as possible, then pop it, but it's not necessary. The charge is also coming out from PPD. Sumail running back, and PPD, I'm sure, is going to cancel his charge as well.
I think if he actually popped the Focus Fire instantly and guessed for the power shot, it might have led to a kill. I think he was just a little bit too hesitant and assumed that he had enough damage to right-click ROTK down, who only has 4 armor, but was just a little bit off with math.
Now, what do you like as a mid player? Wind Ranger builds, do you like an early Maelstrom picked up before the Aghanim Scepter? Do you think Sumail should just go for the value point booster into Maelstrom, or do you like Axe first?
I think I talked about it last game. When you play a mobile hero like the Ember Spirit, the Wind Ranger, any of those heroes, you can just build for a naturally tanky build and then go for something like the Aghanim Scepter, so you're even harder to kill. You've got the Wind Run, plus the fact that you have 1500 HP with the Aghanim Scepter. It's going to be incredibly hard for Ehome to hard commit and kill him in the time where he's Wind Running, so it's probably best to go for the Aghanim Scepter here. If he wanted to farm a little bit more, sure, going for a Maelstrom is okay, but they're trying to snowball as fast as they can, just so that they can start to push down towers and contest.
AUI soaking up some experience here in the middle lane, trying to get that level 6. Taking a look at the net worth here, EG do have 3 of their heroes in the top 4 net worth. In fact, I would say one of the most striking net worth actually right now is YJ, only sitting at 3,100. This is because the constant pressure of that double ion shell really limiting how much CES he's able to get underneath that tower.
Yeah, the reason they did that is because they wanted to go for the dual lane to secure ROTK getting a level 6 at a decent time. And we saw this in the first game, right? This is what Ehome like to do. They want to go for the gank at top and then immediately pressure the tower.
Yeah, the charge onto ROTK. He also still has his ultimate, but he's hit by the charge. Now the shotgun shot latches, and ROTK's done for, but so too does the Razor. monster fall. Evil Geniuses were not expecting this many heroes. Ehome clean up 2 for 1. Sumail, he's got to be careful here. He does have 17 wand charges. Maybe just trying to bait Ehome into a bad situation. Netherlands comes out, but Sumail is going to be fine. Ehome back up, contenting themselves with a 2 for 1 pickoff. A heavy rotation, but well worth it for Ehome.
That could have been even worse for EG if that shackle shot didn't fly from Sumail. And for a second there, it looked like it was going to be okay, but everybody from Ehome was willing to go for that. And the overall goal was to go for the tower, but getting the support and the safe lane carry probably isn't a bad consolation prize. But at the same time, if you're Ehome, the tower was the main goal. You want to put pressure on the map just to open up the field a little bit more for your supports especially.
There's this smoke up. Yep, sure enough, PPD and Sumail will make their rotation into the enemy jungle here. Just as you say, go for a pickoff. If they find it, easily take that tier 1 tower. If not, they may still be able to challenge the tower anyway. Maybe they get a pickoff on the courier. It's actually coming in with the soul ring here of the Winter Wyvern. But DDC seems to have kind of spotted this one out.
Yeah, they know he's just running it really low, and this is why you send a support to the bottom lane, because if he gets ganked, it's only a support that you're really committing for, and you can rotate in heroes as you go, but if you send a core down there, it's well worth it for EG to go for the dive, but because it's just a Winter Wyvern, EG are a little bit conflicted right now. They're like, if we die for this, it's a Winter Wyvern, he's level 6, he could just start the turnaround, it's probably too unsafe. So it makes it really difficult for EG to maneuver.
YJ choosing a stat up here, has the Ring of Aquila, and is going to be going for drums as well. He got a lot of damage on that tier 1 tower because EG not rotating anybody to defend. The choice of drums here does, of course, slow down his Diffusal Blade. What does that really mean for our Phantom Lancer?
I think I've seen him do this a lot. He just likes to go for the stats, so in case they get into fights, he can be useful. The other thing too is if you decide to go for the Diffusal Blade first, you can't go in this off lane like he is right now. Like he's just trying to make the safe lane for one of the supports, and it's actually harder for EG to commit to this top tower. There's just a lot of different angles that Ehome can come in from. You never really know. The rotations are a lot easier, and by sending one of the supports down, EG have demonstrated they want to go for this tower. There we go.
Found DDC, he's tracked up, so even if he can't fly over the trees, well, the shackle shot didn't actually land DDC though. He's still kind of stuck here. Vacuum not able to land, but the power shot will now open the way for Evil Geniuses to claim that kill. No response from Ehome. They would much rather just make trade-offs at this point in time, especially with the Phantom Lancer on their side. They know they want to push this late, especially with EG focusing so much on the laning phase.
Yeah, think about the trade-off though. They almost give up their tier 1 tower at top. YJ gets an incredible amount of farm, same with the Storm. That's why you send the support there. It just doesn't cost you a whole lot.
Fear actually feeling, ooh, yeah, he may actually be able to run him down. YJ's gonna make the TP out. Fear, oh, he barely has enough damage, thanks in part to that Ion Shell. A huge kill, stopping that tier 1 tower from being taken out by the Phantom Lancer and getting the kill. This will upset the Phantom Lancer's farm even further.
And that's why Fear decides to go for the drums. He just wants to be able to chase people down with the static link. I anticipate maybe the SNY after this. Even going for the Aghanim Scepter isn't too bad. I guess they just want to go high ground as fast as they possibly can. Like do something like wait for Sumail to get his Aghanims, which he has right now, go for a Smoke Roshan, and then play for the tier 1s and tier 2s.
Yeah, they've got, between the mech, the Ags, and the little bit of extra sustain from Fear going a Treads and Drum of Endurance build, got some incredibly stat-heavy heroes on EG. They're going to go for Fear here in this top lane. CTY making a large charge, but will still be able to get out ahead of the counter charge from PPD.
Yeah, those are a little
Sumail latched it. Lana in some trouble, is going to go down to straight-up focus fire. DDC is here, but chooses not to pop the Winter's Curse, thinking that his allies were perhaps just a bit too far away.
Sumail getting another solo kill. I mean, you have to be so careful against the Aghanim Scepter Wind Ranger. She's always liable to kill you in a one-on-one situation. The Witch Doctor just didn't respect her enough. Right now, things are a little bit scary for Ehome because they've lost a lot of map control, and a large part of that comes down to the fact that the Phantom Lancer dies solo to the Razor at top, meaning they have to devote at least one hero down here to help him out, but you don't want to do that if you're Ehome. You want to split up the map and help CTY gank.
Oh, AUI, cheeky little bugger that he is, just uses the Shuriken toss to steal that big creep. from the hard camp, as well as bounce it over to the Phoenix. Now he's going to move over to YJ. Get some extra damage on him with the Ion Shell. It's Janata on top. The Shuriken actually dodged there, thanks for Doppelganger. But they still keep the track on YJ. And even if he knows that there aren't necessarily a whole lot of heroes in this bottom lane, knowing that the enemy always has vision on you does have that kind of passive pressure, really limiting your options and how forward you want to play this. CTY is looking for an opening here in the middle lane. RTK and DDC both ready to fly over the cliff and engage on Evil Genius's Samael. They're going to be baited into this here. One glyph goes off, and sure enough, here comes the Winter's Curse on its way. Going to be laid down on its Samael. Perfect timing now. RTK ready to go with the Supernova. There goes a nice vacuum wall combination. CTY is actually going to be forced back. Samael may go down to the Maledict, but it doesn't seem to be enough damage. RTK's egg explodes, but none of EG are caught by that one. And that tower actually goes the way of EG. Creeps took it out. That's got to be a big win for EG. And losing no one there to the engagement of Ehome. I thought for sure they would win that fight, but a beautiful vacuum for Universe kind of upset everything.
I mean, Universe landing that vacuum wall pretty much forces Ehome back, and this is probably going to mean Roshan for certain. EG know that all of the spells that they have to worry about in that pit fight are gone. Winter's Curse has an incredibly long cooldown, 68 seconds left on it. The Phoenix deck is the same. I mean, a full minute where they have time to take pressure on the map, and I think Roshan is probably the best objective that you can go for at this point if you want to.
Oh yeah, particularly with the double damage picked up by Samael. I mean, that's just begging for a Roche.
Yeah, whether or not they decide to go for it, though, is a different story. They could just decide to go for this bottom tower, but Roshan, 100% the better option here. And this is what I'm talking about. EG, they're just trying to snowball as hard as possible.
Cass bouncing around. PPD actually going to make his charge over to Roshan. Bloodstone's now finished up by CTY though, and this could get dangerous. As Evil Geniuses start pushing in if they make one fatal mistake. When they're aggressively pushing down these towers, CTY will start that snowball a-rolling.
So now that they have the Aegis, they've got a Blink Dagger on Universe. It's a pretty decent idea to just go for a straight up push and bait the two core heroes forward, and then just have Universe not reveal the Blink Dagger yet. He'll probably push one lane up at top and then start heading down. And if anything, you probably want to go for that bottom tower just because it's so much more open and easier to access. The Universe sends that Ion Shell forward. You always want to push the lane. There's no reason to just give the tower free hits and free pressure. And so he can rotate down now. He's going to start blinking over, and the rest of the heroes are going to join him.
Now, I'm a little bit concerned here. RTK is actually going for a mech. Phoenix does not have a whole lot of extra mana to play with in these early levels. Just the mech by itself is going to limit your Fire Spirits and Supernova combo. Do you think this is just an item choice purely out of necessity, knowing that EG have such big team fight advantage and you're going to have to stand up to them eventually, that they have to have a counter mech?
I sort of agree with you that the mech is unnecessary. He's not really going to have the mana pool to cast all of his abilities. He's TPing down right now, and he already only has enough mana for the Supernova. So by going for this, it kind of shows that they do want to get in a fight.
Nice pickup here. YJ is going to be targeted by Samael, trying to burst him down, but head of that Doppelganger at the same time. Spirit Breaker does go down to the Witch Doctor. YJ still going to be run down by Samael. That's a huge trade-off. Evil Genius is happy with that exchange so far, and they're going to look for more. Shackle Shot goes out. CTY managed to bounce himself far enough back that EG will not pursue, particularly with the Fire Spirits on him, but still they traded their hard 5 for a one-position Phantom Lancer. Evil Genius is now going to go for that tier 2 tower in the bottom lane.
And usually you're really afraid of the PL at this point in the game because he hasn't been touched, but these ganks once in a while are just keeping him on his toes. He doesn't really want to commit for anything, and Samael focus firing down this tower. This tier 2 is going to open up a lot. It's going to be hard for them to...
Whoa, blink forward, he grabbed RTK! There goes the cold embrace. RTK will live through this one. There's no way EG can threaten him any further. Charge comes in. Oh, RTK sneaks one step ahead. Now PPD is going to be threatened. The cast bounces to him. CTY going to pull it back even further. Bond with the vacuum! And the shackle shot! They now go for CTY. Winter's Curse to cancel it, but PPD still gets the kill! Now Fear moves forward with the extra damage he has and chases away the rest of Ehome. PPD on the hunt, but decides to cancel that charge. Evil Genius is playing pretty disciplined.
They don't have to continue to go for this, and I don't think they should. They're just going to back off. There's no reason to waste the Aegis at this point. And Ehome want to continue to chase for this because the Storm is about to be alive. He might even decide... Okay, he's actually not going to go for it right now.
Ooh, mass initiation coming out from EG between the Blink Dagger pickup of the Wind Ranger, Universe's Darkseer, as well as now the Bounty Hunter. Blink Dagger fairly common on some of these heroes, but all three of them being picked up just goes to show that EG know their time to strike is right now, and they're going to try and push full offense against Ehome and catch them out as many times as they care to defend those tier 2 towers.
They just got to keep going for it and keep getting aggressive. They can go for this mid tier 2, which is pretty easy to go for. Ehome don't have the glyph up, and I think EG know that. So instead of going for the top tier 1, you can just force the issue at this mid tier 2. Because you've got the Aghanim Scepter real soon on Fear right now. He's actually got it coming to him, so you take the mid tier 2, use the Aegis advantage to take down the tier 1 at top, which is quite low, and then just continue to snowball and look for pickoffs, which is incredibly easy because Sumail's got a Blink Dagger.
Aghanim Scepter is going to make it so easy for EG. Push down these towers, both between Fear as well as Sumail. Shackle Shot actually latching there. CTY going to be threatened. He will have enough time to make a ball lightning jump, but he's still charged. He will be able to make a TP. No! BBD gets there in time, and CTY is down for the count. 4 Bloodstone charges is all that's left.
That is not a whole lot. I mean, there's not a whole lot of analysis that you need to add there. He needs to be at neutral right now for them to have a really good chance of coming back. He just doesn't have the mana regen to stay on the map with just 4. And they're going to go for this top tier 2, as the mid was just actually a feint.
Ooh, quick taking that tower and blinks away ahead of the Fire Spirit. Sumail gets more and more racked up. He's got 3K item choices at this point. Now, Blitz, several item builds. We can still see Maelstrom potentially. There's also builds such as Daedalus or even an early MKB that we've seen from Wind Rangers in the past.
I think Deso's really good if you just want to go all-out high ground assault. You've got a Razor with an Aghanim Scepter already. If you just want to commit to going for the high ground, a Deso is a really cheap item that allows you to do so.
Right.
If not, I think the Daedalus is the next best option. I kind of like the Deso as a unique item, but a lot of people favor the Deso. But I think in this specific game, when you've got a Razor that decided to go for the Ags first.
Yeah, you've already got a lot of pushing power by
itself. You would rip through the towers incredibly fast. And it's a cheap item that he can go for.
DDC now, he's actually got a quarterstaff in his inventory. Does this mean he's going Orchid as his second item pickup?
Yes. You have to. You need something to initiate on Sumail.
Okay.
You have to force him to go for the BKB more than anything. And
right.
If you play it right, you should be able to hit the Wind Ranger on the way over with the Orchid at the same time as the roll, so she has no time to Blink Dagger out or Wind Run. But you have to just force her to get a BKB. If she just continues to go damage and you have no way to stopping her, she can just continue to play greedy and go for this build.
YJ has stalled up his defusal a bit more with the Boots of Travel build, but this will obviously allow him to take advantage of a lot of the 5-manning from EG. Still his biggest concern has got to be PPD. You can always charge him down.
Yeah, it's so scary playing against a Spirit Breaker in games like this, especially when you know Sumail initiates on you. There's a really good chance that the Spirit Breaker's coming at the same time.
DDC making that split push happen. The Splinter Blast being spammed out. Still gets the TP away. Charge in, bottom lane. Sumail's going to be caught here, pulled back. YJ is there as well. They try and body block Sumail as much as possible. The Shackle Shot doesn't actually latch, but Sumail gets enough space to make the blink away. CTY still in pursuit, but actually runs out of mana. And Sumail, particular with that haste rune, is able to get away. If Ehome aren't careful, they're going to be turned around on, if anything.
They just can't kill him right now. This is really significant because that was a smoke gank, which they committed their hard carry to, and they still couldn't bring down Sumail. And he's just been an absolute nightmare for them this game. They can't really deal with him, but it's not even him that's the issue right now, because Fear's got almost just as much net worth. He's only 3K far behind, and he's playing a Razor who is naturally hard to take down. And the reason why he's going for the Orchid is because EG have no reason to go for BKBs. There's just no disables on the side of Ehome right now. You gotta force inefficient item choices from EG.
Oh, Sumail gonna find another one. Lanham's done for. He makes quick work of that Witch Doctor with the double damage focus fire.
Is that 5 hits or something?
There's the mech finally from ROTK, but it seems like perhaps it's just a bit too late. EG very clearly still have the team fight dominance, unless there's just amazing Winter Wyvern Phoenix combination. That's really what Ehome are banking on right now, but they're losing so much ground. Tier 2 tower in the top lane already being brought down to 400 HP. Every single time they have to commit at least 3 heroes up to that top lane to defend, and immediately there's going to be some sort of response from EG. They're farming up the enemy jungle, they're pushing in middle lane. They're just all around going to be farming much more efficiently than Ehome.
Oh, this is so smart from Sumail. Instead of going for a Deso or a Daedalus, he goes to the Orchid because he notices that the Storm has an Oblivion Staff.
Right.
That means no Yule Scepter, no BKB, and at the same time it works wonders against ROTK.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a great pickoff against Phantom Lancer as well. I mean, all 3 of the cores are going to be threatened by an Orchid pickup like this, and it's going to come as a complete surprise. They won't even really be able to itemize it against it just because Sumail bought it in one quick go.
Yeah, he didn't really show it off or anything like that, and that's why he was saving so much of his money, just to try to decide what he wanted to go for. But EG, the reason why they're not really doing anything is because they don't have to. They have complete map control. Just wait for the next Aegis. There's nothing else to wait for.
And while we wait for the next Roshan, let's take a look at that net worth chart. 14, now 15,000 lead for EG, 14,000 experience. Items just keep being racked in for EG. They've got a Shivas being built now for Universe. What I see about these item builds, though, from EG, I mean, Ehome still very much have a shot in this game because EG are basically doubling down on the first 35 minutes of the game with every single one of their item choices. The Orchid in particular says that to me. I have an advantage. I'm going to build that advantage even further instead of itemizing late game. DDC almost getting picked off. The Reacting will be enough to be able to finish him. The Orchid being placed on CTY, but EG do not want to be running through that wall unless PPD comes in through the side.
Looking for the Blink Shackle.
Traps it. Oh, and he grabs both, but EG not able to capitalize on that one. Can't dive past that tier 2 tower. Still very disciplined play by them, knowing, especially since they're trying to double down on their advantage and dominate the first 35 minutes of the game, they cannot afford to make a dive and lose a team fight.
Yeah, but they've got so much map vision control right now. It's really hard for Ehome to be able to do anything about this. If you just take a look at Ehome's vision right now, it's
so limited.
It's so dark on the map for them. It's actually unbelievable, and EG have all the map control in the world, so they can just go for those dives, and Ehome have no idea that they're coming. Like, EG could be doing Roshan 6 times over, and Ehome would just have no idea right now. They can't afford to take a bad fight because it's not them with the Bounty Hunter this game around.
Now, here's a player that you don't normally talk about item choices, especially in the first 30 minutes of the game. PPD is known especially for the EG playstyle. He is a hard 5 support, but this game, he's actually getting a decent amount of farm. He's got 2,300 gold he's holding on to. He could have gone for the Glimmer Cape if he wanted. Do you think there's another item he has in mind?
You could just go for the straight Shadow Blade at this point if you feel like it. It's probably not too bad just for the damage that you'd be able to give off, but I mean, we've talked a lot about EG's chances. Ehome, what they have to do right now to come back into this game, play smart, play defensive, don't leave your base. It's still a really powerful combination. The egg plus the Winner's Curse, like they can still do this. And
absolutely.
They have 2 of the hardest hitting carries in the late game. A Storm Spirit and a Phantom Lancer. They could still feasibly do this, but their fight combination would have to be perfect.
All right. PPD, instead of going for the more pickoff-oriented Shadow Blade or even maybe Magic Immunity and BKB, he actually chooses Vlad's instead, trying to optimize the team fight potential of EG, giving those ranged heroes now a lifesteal.
Yeah, they're just going to head down mid. They've got the Aghanim Scepter, level 3 ultimates on both their cores that need it. They've got a Shiva's Guard coming in for Universe, and at the same time, EG, I think, know that Ehome don't have their glyph. Ehome actually used it to try to save that tier 2 tower at top, so this might just be a really easy push for them.
Double gems, Winter Wyvern, as well as Bounty Hunter. They both pick up a gem, knowing how important the map vision is right now. Sumail actually had a shackle there earlier on the Phantom Lancer, but it was just 2 illusions. Looks like AUI is going to be building into the Medallion, going for the Solar Crest later on into the game. We have Fear, who's actually going to be building for an Assault Cuirass now, since the Shiva is being built on Universe. I'm saying being built, he's almost got it, 50 gold. We'll have that one in his inventory. At that point in time, the initiation, despite the fact that like you look at their heroes, and none of those heroes really say like a gigantic amount of teamfight initiation. There's no like Earthshaker or something like that. It's primarily the Darkseer. There's not much follow-up. That being said, they built so much initiation with their gigantic net worth that it's going to be tough for Ehome to be able to stand up against that.
Yeah,
Blink in, Shiva's vacuum wall.
I mean, it's going to be rough, but they just have to stay split. I think CTY is actually going for... Okay, he's still going to go for the Orchid, but the Razor now has an Assault Cuirass, which is going to make going high ground even easier. It's really hard to fight for Ehome too, because they just don't have that much physical damage to deal with that. AC helps you fight physical damage so much. It helps with your pushes. It's just one of those all-around items that work really well.
Right.
They were just waiting for that, and the Shivas on Universe. And now they're going to get real aggressive here. Sumail just going to focus fire down that top tower.
Yeah, they can't afford to give up too much time for Ehome. They've got a Storm Spirit who's about to pick up, you know, his level 3 ball lightning. He also has the Orchid in hand. The Phantom Lancer, despite him being shut down in farm, you give him this much time, he will eventually find a way. Lana going to be the target here. Blink in from Sumail, while Evil Genius's Fear is actually aiming towards that tier 3 tower. Bit by bit, taking it down with the ultimate. YJ spams him back. This is one of the big advantages of Winter Wyvern support especially. His nuke is actually insane for defending against these kind of pushes. Splinter Blast after Splinter Blast. We've thrown the way of EG.
It's so hard right now for EG to go for the high ground, because if they overcommit, it's just as easy for them to lose this game.
Right.
So they just have to play really carefully. I mean, Ehome have clearly demonstrated that they're not willing to leave their base under any circumstance. They saw what happened last game. They're okay with EG continuing to build this network lead, because, again, you've got a Storm Spirit with a Bloodstone and a PL. Just let your combo do work and hope for the best here. And I think EG's just going to punish them by farming everywhere at once.
AUI finds YJ here. But not much they can really do to punish him. The Witch Doctor actually has a medallion of his own now. A little bit surprised by that. I figured with the way, oh, hold up, jump in, Storm Spirit trying to grab Sumail, but he's a blink ahead of CTY. Great reactions. But going back to it, I actually expected, especially with the way they're playing so defensively and defending, relying on that high ground defense, I thought Lanham would actually go for the Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, I think it would have been a better build, but where's he ever going to get the gold for it?
True.
You talked about Phoenix getting a mech maybe 15 minutes ago, and since then he's gotten the mech and nothing else.
Yeah, he's got 1,300 golds. That next item, usually like a Shiva's or something for a Phoenix, it's so far away. So perhaps the immediately effective item, such as the medallion, better option for this Witch Doctor, as they know, despite the fact that this is going to be the lowest kills per minute game we've had at the International, you can feel this buildup where Evil Geniuses are about to hit this critical point where they have a peak of power and they have to go uphill. And that's where that climactic fight is going to occur. And if they're actually rebuffed by Ehome 1 or 2 times, you're going to see Ehome start rapidly climbing back into that net worth lead.
I mean, this game secures them, what, $2 million? I don't really care that it's a 10-3 game.
Yeah, you got to play it safe. You got to play discipline.
EG can continue this game for all they want, because if 30K is what they want to build the lead up to before they go for the high ground, that's perfectly fine, because you're trying to secure your spot against C-Deck in that upper bracket. And so EG, I mean, they've seen other teams in this tournament blow these types of leads. 20K is no laughing matter, but still, you can even extend it further. Like, there's still room to grow for EG if they want.
I love this. With the smoke up, it doesn't look like it's actually going to work here, but EG kind of putting the Razor on the front lines there in the bottom lane, and then smoking up and kind of moving around into the middle lane, seeing if they can catch anybody. Sumail's actually going to be caught here by CTY.
Oh, he doesn't have the
Aegis. They're going to commit heavily for that one. They knew the Aegis expired. Great opportunity, and there goes that dominating streak fed to CTY. And this is what we're talking about. Ehome, you cannot give them any space, any kills at this point in time, especially with such a large network lead by Evil Geniuses. Ehome, every single kill is going to be a dramatic change in net worth for them.
Yeah, and they just continue to turtle. They're also content with how this game's going right now. If they can go for 1 pickoff every 4 or 5 minutes at this point, they're probably okay with it, as long as the game just continues. Because as the game continues, it's just more opportunities for EG to get a little bit too over-aggressive and overextend.
Yeah, the pressure right now is definitely on EG to go for that uphill push, and every single time you go for uphill pushes, there's going to be some sort of mistakes. So Ehome are just waiting to capitalize on that one. In the meantime, they're happy to just split push away. Phantom Lancer now has Diffusal, Yasha, and Boots of Travel. His Manta's going to be coming in soon.
I wonder what Sumail's next item is going to be. He strikes me as the type of player that'll go for something like a Lincoln's instead of just going for that BKB. Just something a little bit more greedy that allows him to deal damage at the same time. But
yeah.
EG, they're starting to group up as 5. They know for a fact that there's very limited vision on the side of Ehome, who just can't ever leave their base. There is a gem on their side, but it's on DDC and he can't get too aggressive.
Ehome start backing up at the perfect time. 4-man smoke. Was looking for a pick off in the middle lane, but they're actually going to find it now in top lane. If they can get both here, this will be huge. DDC just gets melted immediately by Sumail. CTY is going to jump in immediately, working it up. Oh, he has to force the Bloodstone Suicide. YJ, incredibly important. He gets out of this one. Shurkin comes in. Mac actually keeps him alive, but not good enough. Sumail's going to fight the damage. Bottom's going to be caught as well. The Shackle Shot catches him, and ROTK is sitting there going, what can I do, guys? You got to force the buybacks. Evil Geniuses are now going to push uphill. And Ehome, they only have a buyback on the Storm Spirit and the Witch Doctor. There will be no Phantom Lancer for this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Sumail's just going insane right now.
There goes the Winter's Curse. Sumail's kind of caught here. CTY's going to make the large jump. They managed to vacuum into. ROTK desperately needs to get off that Supernova and does. Sumail's going to fall. And now Ehome on the pursuit. They're going to try and catch some more, but they've only just gotten Sumail. Still a gigantic kill. CTY just runs out of mana, unfortunately, unable to pursue for more. Still, though, they rebuffed Evil Geniuses. That's so incredibly important.
I mean, the question is, did they get enough out of that, though? They forced a lot of buybacks. The Storm, he's got a decent amount of farm still, but they only got 1,000 gold change out of that, and at the same time, Sumail's not too big of an issue. Killing him, he only has a kill spree on him. It's not too big of a net worth swing. I guess it's 900 gold, but it's only the Phoenix that manages to pick it up, who's already incredibly under farm still.
Right. YJ, the moment he spawns back, immediately starts going for the split push at the bottom lane. He knows while Sumail is down, it's unlikely EG are going to be able to hunt him down, so he's going to try and take advantage of this next 30 seconds. Goes up, finds that his neutral camp has been farmed up. Evil Geniuses took those 2 cans, backed away real quick. Looks like they're probably going to wait for Roshan next. It's actually up in 50 seconds. Pretty good timing here for EG. They want the earlier Roshans. This game is already drawing out a little bit, and there's certainly plenty of signs of life for Ehome. Plenty of avenues for them to come back.
Yeah, Fear finally decides to go for the BKB. I think at this point, it's the good decision to make. Just because you want an easier way to go for the high ground without just getting cashed up. And now you can drop one of your items for the cheese, and this Roshan is going to be so important for them because Sumail just keeps getting isolated out, and it does so much damage to him when he gets Winter's Cursed at the same time when the Storm jumps for him. He even played that perfectly. I think he win ran as he got initiated on.
Yep.
So the Winter's Curse didn't really do anything, but it was just that he was locked up for so long. Just keeps throwing power shots to the Roshan pit. He knows it's up pretty much at any time. And EG, with this next one, they have to go for it, or this is going to extend to another 60-minute game, I think.
Power shot into the pit, and Roshan is revealed. Immediately, Fear will head on in there. They want to take this Roshan, grab the Aegis and Cheese as quick as possible, and go for that uphill push because they have yet to take a Rax, and it's 41 minutes in against a Phantom Lancer and a Storm Spirit.
Yeah,
in fact, yeah, actually,
it's actually Razor.
What do you think about that? I mean, Razor isn't typically seen as a pretty good Aegis hero. There was that change up, right? Eye of the Storm now, when you die with the Aegis.
I have no idea. Are you thinking that it continues after the Aegis spawns? I'm not actually sure, but I assume they're going for it just because in case he gets Winter's Cursed up, Sumail can just sit in the background and the Razor can just go for the high ground assault with his ultimate twice. That's probably the reason here. So Fear gets sent up and then just goes for it.
Yeah, that Aghanim Scepter in the win run hasn't been enough. The Cask doing some serious work against EG right now, but it's not really enough of an opportunity. Ehome are just more focused on drawing for time here. The Phantom Lancer is pushing up that top lane. He's going to try and claim the tier 2 tower before EG push uphill. Evil Geniuses, though, not likely to let that one happen. CTY just zips right on through.
Oh, this is such a deep dive.
Yeah, they're going in a bit too deep. They're going to focus. Good control. Evil Geniuses Not diving in too deep, realizing what was happening. Back up, immediately focus down that tier 3 tower. The range Rex is going to go down as well now. And Ehome still have yet to really force that initiation. Looks like they're trying to wait this one out. Lotto's going to be caught here. Blink forward by Sumail, immediately arcing it up. But what a great vacuum wall! Catches in for PBD, charges going for RTK. Trying to lock down that Phoenix ahead of the Supernova. He will not be able to get it off. Winter Curse played onto Fear. He's going to be dropping low here, but he does have that Aegis to work around. Evil Geniuses start backing themselves up. Ehome got to be careful as they pursue because Sumail is already ready to go. Pouncing with the shackle shot. CTY gets saved. There goes Yang, but CTY still falls. Yang explodes immediately. And Evil Geniuses have just taken down 3 with no buyback, have 5 still up, and are ready to go for the second. No, they're going to go straight for the tier 4s. They want to end this game right here, right now, and they have the perfect opportunity to do it. A 4th down. Winter Wyvern dead, and GG is the call. Evil Geniuses will move on to the next round. They're heading to the upper bracket finals.
Sumail at the end of this game, from start to finish, just goes absolutely ham. His team just patting him on the back. They realize what he just did for them, absolutely dominating that mid lane. Just goes ham when he decides to go for the ganks. And I mean, congratulations to EG as they advance on the back of that Sumail Wind Ranger. Overall, great team play from EG, incredibly patient. They built up a 30K net worth lead, almost impossible for Ehome to come back from.
An unbelievable start with Ehome. A near flawless victory in game number 1, but EG come back in force in game 2 and game 3. Looking good as they move forward. That is our last game of the night, and now it's time to pass it off to the analysts to talk about the EG victory.
Yes, well done, guys. Thank you very much for your commentary today, and all of our commentators throughout the day have brought us some fantastic action from the floor down in the arena. Congratulations to Evil Geniuses. Ehome will drop down to the lower bracket, and it's a very similar result to the one we had earlier on in the day. Team Secret also had to come back from a game down to win as well. And EG have done North America proud this evening.